Hey, so Xbox might not be doing as bad as a lot of people think. And listen, I'm not saying that it's lighting up the world or anything like that. But what I am saying is that we're starting to see some of the good things come out. And it looks like we're starting to kind of understand where Microsoft is in this whole crazy console space. And to be honest with you, honestly, I just feel like Microsoft has, they still have a way to go, clearly, but at least some good things are starting to kind of come out. And, I'm very thankful for that. They have sort of a direction. I hope that they can learn to be a little bit more honest and open and transparent with the actual fans. But at the same time, there's something that honestly really kind of makes me happy to see. I want the Xbox to survive. I want the Xbox to thrive, and it needs more news like this. So I'm sure you guys are all very interested in it. And honestly, I say honestly a lot in this video. So yeah, honestly, I'm saying honestly quite a bit. So there's that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. What's up, everybody? I'm the Crab Gamer with Crab Gamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you guys for checking it out. Please like, share, and subscribe. That helps out the channel tremendously, and it means a lot to me personally. If you guys could help out, would be awesome, and just mean a lot to me overall. So thank you guys so much for rocking out with me. And again, I do daily gaming content, daily gaming uploads. If you guys are looking for stuff like that, hey, I'm the guy, So hopefully that's something that you all are looking for. And for as much gaming news as we're getting lately, I think it's a good place to be. Just being real about it. So yeah, I try to be entertaining and informative. So yeah, there's that as well. So it looks like 4 years later, Xbox Series X is now outselling the Series S in the US. Dude, and I could honestly wish that Microsoft would put a sale on the Series X. It's such a good console. I'm not lying. The Series X is such a good console that I would love for Microsoft to just go out there and just try its hardest to market and sell this thing. If people got the chance to play it, I think they would love it. And right now, there's not a whole lot going on PlayStation that warrants a PlayStation, honestly. I mean, there's some stuff for sure. And I get it, if you like certain type of game, then yeah. But overall, the first party on Sony is dead. And I think it's better looking on the Xbox side for the future, at least short-term future. So anyway, Microsoft's decision to launch two different consoles as part of its current gen gaming strategy was always a kind of a bold thing, and for a long time it's been the cheaper console that's thought to have sold more units overall. However, according to new data from the NPD group, Xbox Series X is finally starting to outsell Xbox Series S in the US. According to the firm's September sales charts, those scales have just been tipped in favor of the Xbox Series X. Now accounts for 51% of platform's overall sales in the US. Of course, that would put the cheaper Series S at around 49% overall in the region. So again, I think it's like one of those situations where Microsoft made some bad moves earlier in this generation, right? First of all, they launched without any kind of great games. Like, how can you, like, when you start planning these things out, and listen, I liked how Marvel originally did the MCU stuff where they planned everything out for years in advance. So, I mean, now it's garbage. But originally, man, you had like, Iron Man and Captain America and, Thor movies, and then an Avengers movie, then this. And it was all very well orchestrated and very planned out. When you're planning a new console, that usually takes, 2, 3, 4 years. You should also be having games planned for that launch. So they really dropped the ball there. The other place where they dropped the ball was they realistically had no games, and then they also had a situation where they really bet heavily on the idea that gamers were going to be using the cloud a lot more and things like that, and that ended up not really happening, to be honest with you. So they used a lot of the Xbox Series X hardware on cloud servers, and and that didn't pay out. So that's really unfortunate. And so again, those could have been sold. Maybe they could have had millions of more Xbox Series X is sold, but instead they didn't. Series S is a good console, but it's not as good as the PS5, let's just be real, in terms of power and things like that. So as for September 2024 split, specifically Series X is at 58%, meaning that if the trend continues, the gap between the Series X and sales S, the sales will widen. So it's very curious to see how this goes, given that the Series S is the cheaper console, and reduced prices tend to drive console sales in the back half of a generation. But here's the thing about that, right? And I could say this: Microsoft didn't have much in terms of games at the beginning of the generation, so maybe the back half of the generation, people that adopted a PS5 early are willing to try, an Xbox, and Game Pass is, a good value to people and things like that. So maybe that's something that they could actually lean into. Who knows? But it could be interesting to see how that kind of works out. Going back to 2020 and 2021, though, the Series X and PS5, for that matter, was regularly out of stock at major retailers worldwide, and the stock shortage likely led up to an uptick in Series S sales. Microsoft's all-digital machine was routinely available during the early years of the pandemic when the big boys weren't, but of course that's now a non-issue in 2024. It's going to be interesting to see how other regions kind of fare and things like this. Xbox Series X is doing really, really well. People do want power, it's like people are starting to upgrade. The other thing is, back in 2020, you still had holdouts not getting 4K TVs and things like that. Now 4K TVs are even cheaper than they've ever been before. So, when we see that, I think that is an incredibly good thing to kind of look at and say, okay, well, this is what's happening there. But there's more adoption for, these things. And it's good to say, like, we don't know how much Xbox is selling. Maybe they're not selling a ton. Maybe it's not selling as many as it would have in the past. But, you can't really kind of fault Microsoft for trying to get things kind of going in a positive direction. Offering gamers choices is always a good thing. I mean, I get that it's kind of controversial looking back at it now. But for me, there should be nothing real controversial about that. Really, realistically, I just feel like Microsoft, they've dropped the ball a few times, but hey, guess what? It's just one of those things where you can still pick the thing up and kind of run with it and see what happens, Score with the ball, and, honestly, Microsoft could do something surprising. Maybe they could kickstart off next gen or what have you a little bit early. Maybe, maybe they could do something against Sony. I think that it's going to take a lot of transparency on their part, but I also think that it's one of those things where they can do it, and I believe that they can do it. So we'll see if that's something that they can actually pull out. It would be like a rabbit out of a hat type situation, but I'm not really kind of thinking that anything bad is happening there. They have a chance, and we'll see. Like, Sony, in my opinion, is really kind of in a weird spot. Their first party stuff is not being sold. It's not ready, and and that's a real shame. That's a shame when that happens. And to be honest with you, the way that I've kind of looked at this, and the way that I've looked at the way that Microsoft has kind of handled things lately, and they're more quiet, and they're not as interactive with with the fans and things. But I think that that's maybe a good thing. I think that could be somewhat of a good thing, because they're not setting these really dumb expectations, and fans aren't running with them and things like that. I would hope that we kind of all look at stuff and we go, okay, well, it's not as it's not as bad as it was before, and things are kind of going in a much more positive direction for gamers all around. And again, Microsoft, they know what they're doing in some ways. I hope they're listening to the actual gamers that they have, because I think that if they paid attention to them for a change, that we would see things kind of go in a different way. Honestly, we would see so much kind of go in a different way than what's going on right now, because people are kind of ignoring Xbox and not sure if they're going to be the next Dreamcast or what have you. And I don't think that they are going to be the next Dreamcast. I hope not anyway. I hope that they stick around and do some incredible things, and that the gaming side of things continue to kind of move in a great way. I think they do have some good hardware, and you can't really say enough good things about that. I honestly do think they have some really nice hardware, and it really just kind of comes down to what they're going to do in terms of like games for the fans long term and things like that. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Xbox Series X is starting to catch on with what we're finally starting to see. I'm very curious to hear what you guys all think about that, because I think it's pretty fascinating, and it's interesting as well. So I'll link this in the description. You guys check it out. Thank you so much for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, and I'll catch you next time. Crap Gamer out.